Hello everybody, I am Jmulls of Jmulls Gaming, and Metaphor Refantazio is shaping up to be not only a Game of the Year contender for me, but one of my favorite games Atlus has ever made. I am significantly far along in my playthrough at this point, and I've been digesting the experience as I trudge through it. And there's one elephant in the room that I think deserves being addressed as its own element. The politics of Metaphor Refantazio. Now, politics in gaming has been a hot topic for over a decade at this point, and various opinions have been thrown down onto the proverbial table, and lines in the sand have been drawn. Some people say politics have no right to be in a medium largely meant for escapism. Others say video games have always been political, and others say that it's more so a matter of how the politics of games tackling are implemented. Now, to me, these disagreements feel like they stem more from a greater culture war that has been waging since even before the days of Gamergate all those years ago. To me, it's not a matter of opinion in regards to games always being political, they just have been. Many of the most famous gaming experiences are expressly political, such as Final Fantasy VII, BioShock, Persona 5, among many others. But these games are looked at fondly because of good writing, pacing, and storytelling. The simple fact of the matter is that for a lot of people, these games and similar games convey their political beliefs in entertaining and engaging ways, so people at large are responsive to these games and their inherent meaning. A popular game recently that I think has upfront, and maybe political is the wrong word here, but strong messaging nonetheless, is Dragon Age the Veil God, which I have talked about recently quite a bit. For me, the reason this game has been seen quite a bit with negative lighting and controversy and discussion surrounding it is because, well, it's not implemented well. And I have personally voiced my displeasure with the game, and it isn't because it covers topics such as transgenderism or having scenes about one of the main party members being non-binary, but the writing itself throughout the entire game is just simply, well, bad. Lacking in any real dialogue that feels human or emotional, it feels robotic and static, devoid of emotion for the most part, seemingly in an effort to not be controversial or to be as blunt and obvious as possible, but in doing so, deprives itself of good writing and dialogue, and simply chemistry between certain characters to make the story and the themes present shine. Now, circling back to Metaphor Refantazio, having laid that groundwork, this game has been very well received, but it's also an extremely political game in its themes and messaging. And while there is subtlety, it is also blunt with a lot of it. The game has a clear anti-discriminatory message where you take on the role of the main character, whose canon name is apparently Will, but I'm not calling him that. I called him Jay Makoto. And Jay Makoto is an elder. Elders are a race that are few in number in the world of Metaphor Refantazio, but also of the, I believe, 8 races that populate the game, they are viewed negatively and side-eyed as a result of being an elder. And that happens pretty much everywhere you go. Like, you'll rock up to the church to purify your gear, and they'll go, "Oh god, you're an elder? Ugh." Or at least something to that effect. It may have been a little bit dramatic there, but you get the idea. And funnily enough, despite all this discrimination you yourself face in this world by being an elder, you're also running in the contest to be the next king of the United Kingdom of Eukrosia. And throughout your adventures in the game, you deal with myriad struggles and living conditions of people throughout the world, including Sanctism, which is the state religion, and how it tries to impose its will on the non-believing pagans, like the Mastari. All the while, one of your biggest motivating factors is this novel that you're carrying around. See, it's written by insert spoiler here, and it depicts what appears to be our world in certain ways, like legitimately our modern industrialized world, skyscrapers and all, and we are the fantasy for the people of this game. But like a fantastical version of our world, where peace and equality reign supreme, and people are at liberty to pursue what makes them happy as they would. And there's very obvious references to our world, but we also live in it, and if you have a pulse, you will be able to say, wait a minute, we're not like that. Wait, that's wrong. Wait, no, it's not like that at all. See, and it plays on the idea of how we view fantasy worlds to some degree. These fantastical worlds filled with adventure, magic, and dragons, where we would be the heroes saving the princess or whoever from a castle by an evil dragon. Jmulls, you just described Shrek. Shut up. And we view fantasy worlds to some degree like that, and the world of Metaphor Refantazio is simply not like that. Magic, for the most part, is really restricted, requiring these things called igniters to properly utilize for most of the population. And much like how we view fantasy world through that scope, that fantastical scope, they view ours the same, and it also serves as a way for us to critique our own world for not being like their idealized version, because we can immediately spot the differences. And that goes more so in terms of how this game's story can be subtle, but like I said, this game can be very upfront, and you aren't the only character vying for the throne, and there's many other colorful characters with their own political platforms, and you even get the chance to debate them in-game to level up your royal virtues. Basically, your social stats from Persona. Katharina wants to take the hoarded wealth of the nobles and distribute it amongst the poor. There's a jabroni who yaps about the elderly or something, and there's an ugly guy that talks about beauty being the end-all be-all. The leader of the Sanctus Church is one of the frontrunners for the throne, and you see him and the Sanctus Church try and curry favor among the masses. Whereas the antagonist, Luis, well, he preaches about strength and how the strong will survive, even reminding me of Senator Armstrong from Metal Gear Rising on occasion. The game is directly political, it's unashamed in its messaging, it's upfront and blunt. There's little room for interpretation in that regard, as the storytelling is, as I said, rather blunt. One of the biggest themes of the game is that discrimination and racism is wrong and bad, but I think Metaphor Refantazio serves as a rebuttal to the idea that games can't be or shouldn't be explicitly political. This game works, and works so well because it simply knows how to tell a story. It has phenomenal pacing, knows how to introduce new characters, knows how to foreshadow, knows how to develop characters, and just has incredible presentation so it can make these themes land and be interesting because it's all contextualized within this game's world. It doesn't feel like someone's trying to make a one-for-one comparison between the game world and its fantasy and our world. You learn about the concepts, you learn about the institutions of this game world, how it all ticks, how people think and view each other, and it builds its messaging off of that, and you can extrapolate that to the real world, if you so choose. And it's all interesting, at least it is to me, because they're explored well enough, and they're also packaged with a phenomenal story, beautiful music, and just a great feeling behind it with some of the most lovable characters out there. Atlus is known for their characters, and that is absolutely the case with this gem of a game. In an age of gaming where being expressly political, especially about themes like discrimination, can be a recipe to generate controversy, Metaphor stands as an excellent example, in my eyes, as to how to do it well, in an engaging way by simply telling a good story. And with that, I'll call the video there for the day. Thank you all for tuning in. My pleasure for making the video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe. It'd really help the channel out and help support future content, and I greatly appreciate it. Stay safe, have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody, until we meet again.